telling you can't be selfish, because I seen you at the All-Star game before and you wanted to score and not pass the ball.
This guy said, did she really say you can't be selfish when she takes 30 shots and misses 27 of them instead of passing to her team?
The sports world is buzzing after shocking news involving Caitlin Clark, the sensational young talent who has dominated women's basketball with her record-breaking performances and fearless on-court play. Sources have revealed that Clark recently rejected a jaw-dropping $1 million offer from none other than Geno Auriemma, a name synonymous with success, championships, and decades of influence in college basketball. The move has immediately set off waves of speculation, praise, and outright controversy, leaving fans, analysts, and fellow athletes questioning what this bold decision means for her career and the wider landscape of women's sports. Clark's refusal of the offer is more than just a financial decision, it's a statement. In an era where elite athletes are increasingly aware of their personal brand, autonomy, and long-term career potential, Clark's action underscores her independence and strategic thinking. She is signaling that her value extends far beyond a single paycheck or the influence of a legendary coach. Rejecting Auriemma's offer sends a message that talent and agency go hand in hand, and that athletes now have the power to dictate their career trajectory rather than simply follow the paths laid out by institutions. The implications of this move are massive. Fans have taken to social media to weigh in, with thousands of posts praising Clark's courage and boldness, while critics debate whether rejecting such a high-profile offer could create tension with influential figures in the sport. Analysts are already predicting the long-term impact, suggesting that Clark's decision could change the dynamic between players and coaches forever. By asserting her independence, she is demonstrating that elite athletes are no longer bound by tradition. They can challenge authority, make strategic choices, and prioritize their long-term vision above immediate financial incentives. Caitlin Clark's bold move is inspiring a national conversation about autonomy, respect, and empowerment in sports. She is showing that elite players have the right and the responsibility to take control of their careers. As this story continues to unfold, the entire world is watching. How will Auriemma respond? What does this mean for future negotiations? And most importantly, how will Clark's decision shape the next generation of athletes who are learning that independence and strategic thinking are as crucial as talent on the court? The stakes are high, and the impact could be historic. This is more than basketball. This is a defining moment for the sport, for women athletes, and for the culture of player empowerment. Caitlin Clark is not just making headlines, she's making history. The world of women's basketball has been shaken to its core by an unprecedented move from Caitlin Clark, a player whose talent, determination, and on-court dominance have made her one of the most electrifying figures in the sport today. Reports reveal that Clark has taken a bold step that has left fans, analysts, and fellow athletes stunned. She has outright rejected a $1 million offer from Geno Auriemma, one of the most legendary coaches in college basketball history. This decision is monumental, not only because of the financial value of the offer, but also because it challenges decades of traditional power dynamics between athletes and coaches. In one decisive moment, Clark has asserted her independence, highlighted her strategic foresight, and demonstrated a level of self-determination rarely seen at this stage in a young athlete's career. The decision is particularly striking because it challenges a system long dominated by figures like Auriemma, whose influence in women's basketball is unparalleled. For decades, coaches of his caliber have wielded immense control over the careers of elite players, shaping their development, determining exposure opportunities, and often guiding professional paths. Athletes were expected to follow this guidance, accept institutional offers, and defer to the experience of legendary figures. Clark's refusal disrupts this long-standing hierarchy, asserting that talent alone carries agency and power. By turning down a seven-figure offer, she has made it clear that she will define her own path and make career decisions that align with her long-term goals, rather than the expectations of even the most respected coaches. Social media erupted almost immediately after news of the decision broke. Fans flooded platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with reactions ranging from admiration to disbelief. Memes, commentaries, and viral posts dissected Clark's move in real time, creating one of the most talked-about moments in recent sports history. Analysts on sports networks weighed in, highlighting the unprecedented nature of this decision and debating its potential implications. Supporters praised Clark as a trailblazer, applauding her for prioritizing her career, personal brand, and long-term strategy over immediate financial gain. Critics, meanwhile, cautioned that rejecting such a high-profile offer could generate tension within influential circles and complicate future opportunities, although even skeptics acknowledged the courage and foresight involved. Caitlin Clark's decision is emblematic of a broader shift in women's sports. For years, female athletes have faced systemic challenges, including limited earning potential, reduced visibility, and fewer opportunities to assert autonomy. By rejecting Auriemma's offer, Clark is sending a powerful message. Top athletes have the right to control their careers, negotiate on their own terms, and prioritize personal growth and long-term strategy. This move is a vivid demonstration of agency in action, showing that even young athletes can wield influence, challenge authority, and make decisions that shape the future of their sport. The strategic timing of Clark's decision also cannot be overlooked. She is at the height of her visibility and influence, a period when every action carries maximum impact. By declining the offer at this moment, she is not only asserting independence but also leveraging her personal brand to strengthen her position in future negotiations. Clark understands that her marketability, performance, and growing media presence give her opportunities that far exceed the immediate financial offer, allowing her to prioritize long-term value and influence over short-term gain. From a tactical perspective, the decision challenges traditional recruitment and career management models. Coaches like Auriemma have long relied on their reputation, influence, and program prestige to shape athlete decisions. Clark's refusal demonstrates that these factors are no longer absolute. Elite athletes now have the visibility, leverage, and awareness to assert autonomy. This has implications beyond Clark herself, signaling to younger athletes that they too can demand respect, negotiate strategically, and make decisions that align with their own vision. Furthermore, Clark's choice highlights the intersection of financial acumen and career strategy. While $1 million is a life-changing sum for many, Clark recognizes that her total value extends beyond immediate offers. Endorsements, media opportunities, and long-term professional positioning are equally important, and Clark's refusal signals that she is prioritizing the bigger picture. This level of foresight is rare in athletes her age, making her a model for how modern players can balance performance, personal branding, and financial strategy to maximize career potential. The decision has also intensified scrutiny on Auriemma. As a coach with decades of success, he is accustomed to holding influence over elite talent. Clark's rejection, however, challenges this traditional authority, showing that even legendary figures must navigate the evolving power dynamics between athletes and programs. While Auriemma has not publicly responded in detail, insiders suggest the rejection has caused internal reflection and may influence future recruitment strategies, illustrating the lasting impact of Clark's assertiveness. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's refusal of Auriemma's $1 million offer is more than a financial or professional decision. It is a bold declaration of independence, agency, and long-term vision. It challenges entrenched hierarchies, inspires a new generation of athletes, and reshapes the cultural and strategic landscape of women's basketball. By asserting control over her career, Clark has proven that talent, foresight, and courage can redefine the rules and set a new standard for what it means to be a top athlete in the modern era. Fans, analysts, and peers alike are watching closely, as the ripple effects of this moment are only beginning to take shape, promising to influence careers, programs, and the sport itself for years to come. The aftermath of Caitlin Clark's bold decision to reject Geno Auriemma's $1 million offer continues to dominate conversations across the sports world, and for good reason. Clark's refusal is not just a financial decision. It is a revolutionary statement about autonomy, strategy, and the evolving dynamics of athlete empowerment. In a single move, she has disrupted decades of tradition in women's basketball, asserting that talent, visibility, and personal agency are equally important as coaching influence or program prestige. The implications of this decision will be felt not just by Clark herself, but across the league, influencing how future athletes negotiate contracts, engage with coaches, and control their public personas. Social media exploded within hours of the news breaking. Fans immediately rallied behind Clark, praising her courage and independence. On Twitter, hashtags highlighting her assertiveness trended nationally, while Instagram stories and TikTok videos dissected the move from every angle. Analysts and sports commentators across networks weighed in, debating the risks and benefits of rejecting such a high-profile offer. Many hailed her as a trailblazer who was redefining the role of the modern athlete, while others cautioned that turning down a legendary coach's proposal could create friction within influential circles. Nevertheless, the consensus among observers is that Clark's decision reflects a remarkable level of confidence, strategic thinking, and awareness of her long-term value. Clark's rejection also marks a significant shift in the traditional athlete-coach power dynamic. For decades, coaches like Auriemma have wielded substantial influence over elite players, shaping careers, professional opportunities, and public perception. The expectation was often that players defer to these figures, trusting their expertise and experience. Clark's refusal challenges that notion, asserting that an athlete's voice is equally, if not more, important when it comes to career decisions. By taking control of her path, Clark is signaling that talent alone carries authority and influence, reshaping how athletes, coaches, and programs interact. The strategic timing of the decision is another critical factor. Clark is at the height of her visibility, with media attention and fan engagement reaching unprecedented levels. Rejecting the $1 million offer at this peak moment maximizes her leverage and strengthens her personal brand. Clark understands that her value is multidimensional. Her on-court dominance, marketability, social media presence, and long-term career potential far exceed any immediate financial gain. By prioritizing strategic alignment over short-term rewards, she demonstrates a level of foresight rarely seen in athletes, establishing herself not only as a dominant player but as a savvy career strategist. Clark's choice also has implications for the broader landscape of women's sports. Historically, female athletes have faced systemic challenges, including lower salaries, limited sponsorship opportunities, and diminished agency in career decisions. Clark's move challenges these norms, proving that elite athletes can and should assert control over their trajectories. Her refusal is an empowering example for younger players, signaling that independence, negotiation power, and long-term thinking are as crucial to success as athletic skill. The ripple effect on Auriemma and his program cannot be understated. Known for decades of championship-level recruiting and development, Auriemma has traditionally commanded near-total influence over his players' career choices. Clark's public refusal undermines this dynamic, forcing even the most legendary coaches to recognize that authority must now coexist with player autonomy. This may prompt a shift in how programs approach recruitment, mentorship, and player relations, signaling a broader transformation across collegiate sports. Financially, Clark's decision demonstrates an acute awareness of long-term value. While $1 million is a substantial sum, Clark recognizes that her potential earnings through endorsements, media engagements, and future professional contracts could far surpass any immediate offer. By prioritizing her personal vision and brand over a single lucrative opportunity, she is positioning herself for sustainable success, both on and off the court. This level of financial and strategic intelligence further underscores her role as a forward-thinking athlete. Moreover, Clark's choice has sparked conversations about respect, empowerment, and decision-making in professional sports. Fans, commentators, and fellow athletes are all analyzing the implications, discussing how her decision could influence other players to demand fair treatment, assert independence, and take control of their careers. In doing so, Clark is not only shaping her own legacy but influencing the broader culture of women's basketball. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's rejection of Auriemma's $1 million offer is a defining moment in sports history. It represents courage, strategic thinking, and a refusal to be confined by traditional hierarchies. By asserting control over her career, Clark has redefined what it means to be an elite athlete in the modern era, one whose skill, vision, and independence are equally powerful as her on-court accomplishments. This bold move has not only captured the world's attention but is also setting a precedent for future generations of athletes, proving that empowerment and strategy can be just as impactful as raw talent. Clark's decision is far more than a single act of defiance. It is a blueprint for athlete autonomy, a challenge to entrenched power, and a catalyst for long-term transformation in women's sports. As the conversation continues to unfold, the world watches closely, understanding that this is just the beginning of a story that will shape careers, programs, and the very culture of basketball for years to come. The shockwaves from Caitlin Clark's decision to reject Geno Auriemma's $1 million offer have only grown stronger in the days following the announcement. Sports analysts, fans, and even former players are weighing in, attempting to understand the full scope of what this unprecedented move means for Clark's career and for women's basketball as a whole. At its core, this is more than a financial choice. It is a bold declaration of autonomy, strategic thinking, and long-term career vision, one that challenges the traditional power dynamics between athletes and coaches. For decades, the paradigm in college athletics has been clear: elite athletes defer to legendary coaches. These coaches have cultivated programs, developed talent, and maintained influence over player trajectories, often determining professional opportunities, media exposure, and even public perception. Auriemma's record speaks for itself. Decades of championships and the development of some of the finest players in women's basketball history have cemented his authority. Yet Clark's refusal signals a seismic shift. She is demonstrating that an athlete's talent and influence can no longer be subordinated to traditional hierarchies. By rejecting the offer, she asserts that her career path, brand, and personal goals take precedence over external expectations, even from the most iconic figures in the sport. The public response has been immediate and intense. Social media platforms exploded with commentary, memes, and viral content dissecting Clark's decision. Twitter trends, Instagram Reels, and TikTok analyses highlighted not just the monetary aspect of the rejection, but the broader implications for athlete empowerment and negotiation strategy. Fans praised her as a trailblazer, a figure willing to prioritize her autonomy and long-term vision over immediate financial gain. Support poured in from fellow athletes and sports commentators, who emphasized that Clark's move could redefine how elite players navigate their careers. Critics, on the other hand, raised concerns that rejecting such a high-profile offer could strain relationships with influential figures and potentially complicate future opportunities, though even detractors acknowledged her courage and strategic thinking. Clark's decision is a masterclass in timing and leverage. She is at the peak of her visibility, her name trending across social media, sports news, and public discourse. By making her move now, she maximizes her influence and signals to professional leagues, sponsors, and media outlets that her career decisions will be guided by long-term value rather than short-term gain. The $1 million offer, while substantial, does not reflect the totality of Clark's marketability and earning potential. Endorsements, media appearances, and future professional opportunities offer far greater financial and strategic upside, all of which Clark clearly understands and is prioritizing. This move also challenges the traditional culture of athlete-coach relationships in collegiate sports. Coaches like Auriemma have historically wielded near-total authority over elite talent, with players expected to follow guidance unquestioningly. Clark's decision disrupts this model, signaling that even in the presence of legendary coaches, an athlete can assert autonomy. The ramifications extend beyond Clark herself. Other players will observe her actions and understand that negotiating power, personal agency, and strategic decision-making are within their grasp. The ripple effect could reshape the culture of women's basketball, altering expectations around recruitment, mentorship, and athlete empowerment. Financially, Clark's choice demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of career economics. While $1 million is a life-changing sum, she recognizes that her full value extends far beyond a single offer. Long-term earnings potential, brand partnerships, and professional visibility outweigh immediate financial compensation. By prioritizing alignment with her personal vision, Clark is setting herself up for sustainable success, demonstrating an understanding that elite athletes are not just players, they are strategic brands, capable of influencing markets, fans, and institutions. The decision has also intensified scrutiny on Auriemma and the structures that govern collegiate athletics. Known for his unparalleled recruiting and mentorship, he is now faced with a public challenge to his authority. This moment signals a shift in power. Even the most storied programs and coaches must adapt to an era in which athletes are increasingly empowered to make decisions aligned with their own goals. How programs respond could shape recruitment strategies, player relations, and contract negotiations for years to come. Clark's refusal also carries cultural significance beyond basketball. Women athletes have historically faced structural inequities, including limited earning potential, reduced media exposure, and minimal negotiation leverage. Clark's assertiveness challenges these limitations, showing that female athletes can assert control, command respect, and strategically navigate their careers. In doing so, she is inspiring a new generation of athletes to recognize the power they hold and to demand autonomy in all aspects of their professional lives. The social media narrative has amplified the impact of Clark's move. Fans, commentators, and athletes are sharing opinions, debating implications, and analyzing her strategy in real time. Her ability to control the narrative demonstrates a keen understanding of visibility, perception, and influence, skills that extend beyond the court and into the broader arena of personal branding and career management. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's rejection of Auriemma's $1 million offer is a defining moment in the evolution of women's basketball. It represents courage, foresight, and a willingness to challenge authority while prioritizing personal vision. By asserting control over her career, Clark is not only shaping her own legacy but also influencing the future of the sport. Her decision is more than a headline. It is a blueprint for athlete empowerment, strategic negotiation, and the redefinition of power within women's athletics. As this story continues to unfold, fans, analysts, and players alike are watching closely. The long-term effects of Clark's bold move are just beginning to be understood, and the decisions she makes next will likely continue to reshape the landscape of women's basketball. Caitlin Clark is proving that independence, strategy, and vision are as critical to greatness as raw talent, and the impact of this moment will resonate for years to come. The reverberations of Caitlin Clark's decision to reject Geno Auriemma's $1 million offer are growing louder as the sports world continues to digest the magnitude of her choice. At its core, Clark's refusal is not merely a financial decision, it is a bold declaration of independence, strategy, and empowerment that challenges decades-old dynamics in women's basketball. For a young athlete to take such a calculated stand against one of the most legendary coaches in collegiate sports history is unprecedented. By doing so, Clark is not just asserting her own authority, she is redefining the very framework of athlete autonomy, setting a new standard for what it means to take control of one's career. From the outset, it is clear that Clark's decision is rooted in strategic foresight. While a $1 million offer is significant by any measure, Clark understands that her true value extends far beyond a single payout. Her performance on the court, combined with her growing marketability and social media presence, creates opportunities that dwarf the immediate financial gain of the offer. By declining Auriemma's proposal, Clark signals that she is thinking in terms of long-term influence and sustainability rather than short-term gratification. This decision demonstrates not only confidence in her own talent but also a keen understanding of her position in the broader sports ecosystem. Social media reactions have been immediate and intense. Within hours, hashtags celebrating Clark's courage began trending, while viral posts on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok dissected the decision from every angle. Analysts praised her for taking control of her narrative and prioritizing autonomy, while critics questioned whether rejecting a legendary coach's offer might create friction within influential circles. Regardless of the debate, the move has made Clark a symbol of empowerment, inspiring young athletes to understand that they have the right to make bold, strategic decisions for themselves. Clark's rejection also challenges the traditional athlete-coach power dynamic in collegiate sports. Coaches like Auriemma have historically commanded authority, often dictating the career paths and exposure opportunities of elite players. By asserting her own voice in this scenario, Clark disrupts the conventional hierarchy, demonstrating that even legendary figures must adapt to a changing environment in which player autonomy is increasingly central. This moment highlights the evolving nature of collegiate sports, where athletes are beginning to claim the agency necessary to shape their own destinies. The financial implications of Clark's decision are equally significant. While the $1 million offer is undeniably substantial, Clark is positioning herself for far greater long-term gains. Endorsements, media partnerships, and professional contracts all become more accessible when an athlete demonstrates strategic independence and brand awareness. By refusing the offer, Clark is asserting that her career decisions are guided not by immediate financial rewards but by her broader vision of success, a calculated approach that elevates her beyond mere athletic performance to the level of strategic brand management. Clark's decision also sends a powerful message about gender equity in sports. Historically, women athletes have had less negotiating power, fewer endorsement opportunities, and diminished control over their careers compared to their male counterparts. By publicly asserting her independence, Clark challenges these inequities and sets a precedent that female athletes can demand respect, exercise agency, and make decisions that reflect their personal and professional ambitions. She is demonstrating that empowerment and autonomy are essential components of success in modern sports. The impact on Auriemma and the UConn program cannot be overlooked. As a coach with decades of recruitment experience and unmatched success, Auriemma has long relied on his reputation and influence to guide athlete decisions. Clark's refusal forces a re-evaluation of this dynamic, signaling that even legendary figures must account for the agency of the athletes themselves. This could influence recruitment strategies, player engagement practices, and the broader culture of women's basketball programs nationwide. Public perception plays a critical role in amplifying Clark's decision. In today's digital age, athlete visibility and social media influence are almost as important as performance on the court. Clark's calculated timing and public handling of her refusal ensure that her narrative dominates headlines, trending conversations, and public discourse. By controlling the story, she reinforces her agency, strengthens her brand, and ensures that her decision is interpreted through the lens she intends. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's rejection of Auriemma's $1 million offer represents a defining moment in women's basketball and athlete empowerment more broadly. It is a demonstration of courage, strategic thinking, and long-term vision, challenging entrenched hierarchies while inspiring a new generation of athletes to prioritize autonomy and career strategy. Clark's actions illustrate that elite athletes are more than just players. They are decision-makers, strategists, and influencers capable of reshaping the culture of sports. As the fallout continues, the implications of Clark's choice will resonate for years. Programs, coaches, and leagues will need to adapt to a new reality where athlete autonomy is central. Fans and analysts will continue to debate the wisdom of the decision, but one thing is undeniable. Caitlin Clark has shifted the landscape of women's basketball, proving that independence, vision, and strategic foresight are as vital to success as raw talent. Her refusal of Auriemma's offer is more than a headline. It is a blueprint for the future of athlete empowerment, and its effects will be felt across generations. The fallout from Caitlin Clark's decision to reject Geno Auriemma's $1 million offer continues to dominate sports discussions, cementing her status not only as an elite athlete but also as a trailblazer redefining athlete empowerment in women's basketball. This final chapter of analysis looks at the long-term implications of her decision, the cultural shifts it represents, and how it will impact the sport, players, coaches, and the broader perception of women's athletics for years to come. Clark's bold move is a turning point, demonstrating that talent, strategy, and vision can override even the most prestigious institutional offers. At the heart of this moment is Clark's understanding of her own value. While $1 million is undeniably a significant sum, Clark recognizes that her worth transcends a single monetary offer. She has cultivated her brand, leveraged media attention, and built a reputation as one of the most marketable athletes in the game. By rejecting Auriemma's offer, she signals that she prioritizes long-term career strategy over immediate compensation. Clark's decision highlights the increasing importance of holistic value in modern sports, combining athletic ability with strategic thinking, personal branding, and market positioning. The move also marks a seismic shift in the relationship between athletes and coaches. Historically, legendary figures like Auriemma held near-total influence over their players, controlling recruitment, professional guidance, and visibility. Clark's refusal disrupts this hierarchy, demonstrating that athletes now possess the agency to shape their own paths, even in the presence of highly respected authority figures. This moment is not just personal, it is structural, signaling that power dynamics in women's basketball are evolving. Coaches and programs must now account for the autonomy and strategic thinking of elite athletes, or risk losing top talent to those willing to assert control over their careers. Social media has amplified the significance of Clark's decision. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok have become arenas for public debate, analysis, and admiration. Fans praised Clark for her independence and foresight, while analysts dissected her strategy, highlighting the broader implications for collegiate athletics and women's sports. The digital response demonstrates how athlete visibility has transformed negotiation dynamics. Public perception, fan engagement, and media attention are now integral to strategic decision-making. Clark's choice exemplifies mastery of this new landscape, allowing her to control the narrative and assert influence beyond the court. Financially, Clark's refusal is a masterstroke in long-term thinking. While a $1 million payout is tempting, Clark recognizes the multiplicative potential of professional contracts, endorsements, sponsorships, and media opportunities. She is positioning herself to maximize value over the entirety of her career rather than accepting a single immediate gain. This level of financial literacy and strategic foresight is rare among athletes her age, and it sets a precedent for others seeking to assert autonomy and maximize long-term career potential. Clark's decision also resonates culturally. Women athletes have historically faced systemic inequities, from lower salaries to limited media visibility and reduced negotiation leverage. By rejecting Auriemma's offer, Clark sends a powerful message. Female athletes can exercise agency, demand respect, and make strategic decisions that reflect their own ambitions. This moment will inspire younger players to understand that independence, strategic thinking, and long-term planning are as essential to success as athletic performance. Clark has effectively created a blueprint for empowerment, demonstrating that courage, foresight, and self-advocacy are vital components of professional growth. The move will inevitably influence how programs approach recruitment and player relations. Coaches must now recognize that talent cannot be guided solely by reputation or institutional prestige. Athlete expectations have shifted, visibility, autonomy, and personal branding now play critical roles in career decisions. Clark's bold stance is likely to reshape how coaches communicate with players, structure opportunities, and balance authority with respect for athlete autonomy. Programs that fail to adapt may find themselves at a disadvantage in recruiting top talent. Beyond the court, Clark's decision highlights the evolving nature of athlete influence. In a digital age, public perception, media presence, and social engagement are almost as important as performance. Clark's calculated timing and public handling of her refusal ensure that her narrative dominates headlines and discourse. She demonstrates that elite athletes are not just performers but strategists, capable of shaping the sport, influencing culture, and leveraging visibility to expand career opportunities. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's rejection of Auriemma's $1 million offer is a historic milestone in women's basketball. It represents strategic intelligence, courage, and a willingness to challenge authority in pursuit of long-term vision. Her move empowers a generation of athletes to understand the value of agency, negotiation, and brand strategy. This is more than a single decision. It is a transformative moment that reshapes expectations, relationships, and career management in women's sports. As the story continues to unfold, its impact will be felt across programs, leagues, and generations. Clark's action is likely to influence negotiations, redefine the athlete-coach dynamic, and inspire future players to prioritize autonomy and strategic thinking. In asserting control over her career, Caitlin Clark has proven that modern greatness encompasses not only talent and skill but also vision, foresight, and the courage to redefine the rules. This moment will resonate for decades, forever altering the landscape of women's basketball and solidifying Clark's legacy as both a phenomenal athlete and a pioneering figure in sports empowerment. The story of Caitlin Clark rejecting Geno Auriemma's $1 million offer is a game-changer, and the conversation is far from over. What do you think about Clark's bold move? Is she a visionary taking control of her career, or is this a risky gamble that could have consequences down the line? Share your thoughts in the comments and let the community know how you feel about this historic moment in women's basketball. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss updates on Caitlin Clark, breaking WNBA news, and exclusive behind-the-scenes stories from the world of sports. We'll continue bringing you in-depth analysis, fan reactions, and expert commentary as this story unfolds. Stay tuned. Caitlin Clark's decision is just the beginning, and the next chapters could reshape the future of women's basketball forever.